Cedric, mon ami, good
Hi,
afternoon.
Alon, my friend.
How are you?
I'm very fine, and you?
I'm very good. I'm very happy and honored to have you on the show.
The honor is for
It's
me.
uh, it's been quite a while. This promises to be an amazing episode. I'm very excited. For those that joined us live or are watching this episode afterwards or listening to the audio version of the podcast
Hmm.
of this episode, Cedric Bellon is actually an industry legend, which nobody knew he existed until the watch angels made him famous. He is a fantastic designer, and he's designed many iconic watches that we didn't know he designed and his team. He's modest, he's friendly, and maybe most importantly, he's one of the few and the first to raise sustainability in the watchmaking industry. I discovered him by buying the first project on Watch Angels, the project that is crowdfunding watchmakers. I put the link up on the site, which you can see at the bottom of the screen. It's watchangels.ch if you want to scroll it. I immediately bought the CB one, especially for you today, Cedric. I made it more sustainable. I put the bracelet we made with Ace,
Okay,
which
very
is
nice. Nice combo.
cork and ashwood.
Ashwood, okay, very
So
nice.
I love the original strap that you did. I love it. You see, it
Yes,
has
and
a
it's
beautiful
it's
patina.
it's a handmade straps made by Marco Lazzaroni at Vicus Pele, his workshop in just nearby the factory in Switzerland.
Yeah, it's stunning. I love it, but especially for you today, I put our ecological strap on it because you inspire us. We had this strap made, I think, maybe 6 years ago, but you inspire us. So I'm very
I'm
honored
glad.
to have you here. And usually our guests show their wrist first, but I'm so excited I went first. So it begs the question: are you wearing a new CB on your wrist, or what watch are you wearing today?
Not yet. I'm still wearing almost the same as you, I think. So, which is a CB1 1460
Yeah,
on its original strap.
yeah.
And I'm also testing daily. Currently, this other version on a ladder strap, ladder bracelet. Sorry,
Cool. Very
just
cool.
to see if it fits on a metal bracelet and see how it looks and how it is on the wrist.
Did you design that bracelet, or is it a vintage strap?
No. It's a bracelet for a manufacturer, a bracelet manufacturer. Actually, we a lot of people asked if I have the intention to, if I plan to make a version of the CB01 on a bracelet. I would love to. Unfortunately, our environmental guidelines are a bit too strong to allow us to make a bracelet out of 100% recycled stainless steel. So that's why I'm just trying first to wear it on another brand bracelet, and we'll see if one day we can develop it and simply offer it to our customers.
Amazing, amazing. So, um, I am actually very keen to know your track record, and I'm just gonna give a glimpse to our viewers of a small selection of brands that you've already worked for, but that will deal with it later. Because the tradition on the show is after the wrist check, we dive into the standard seven, the ace list questions to get to know our guest. And then afterwards, we'll discuss your journey in the watchmaking industry and as a
Okay.
designer. So the first question, Cedric, what watch and or jewel is your favorite and why?
It's a complicated question because I don't wear any jewel and I rarely wear a watch. It sounds a bit weird, but actually, I don't think it's comfortable. So Usually, I wear a watch when I'm outside, when I travel, because I think it's the best way, the more practical, the more functional way to know time, better than a smartphone or any other kind of item to show time. But I'm in love with the product. I mean, I'm fascinated by watches for 2 decades now. So watches are probably my favorite jewel.
Cool. So before you designed your own watch and brand, started your own watch brand because you have your own brand, which is your studio, which is called
Mhm.
Bellon and Partners.
Yes.
What obviously the your own watches are your favorite today. But
Not exactly.
oh,
Yes, they are. But I mean, my favorite one is the coming one. It's the next one. Always. As a designer, I'm usually when a watch is unveiled, a watch from my my clients, or a watch from CB Watch. Uh, I'm already working on it for 2 or 3 years sometimes, so I know the watch perfectly. I know how the project is running. So I'm more excited by the next one than the current one.
it's the perpetual pursuit of the next one. But
Yeah.
let me not let you escape and give me political correct answers. Give me a watch that is your favorite that you designed and you are allowed to speak about because some clients won't let you speak about you working for them. And I would love to hear what watch you think is amazing that you did not design.
There's so many of them.
Okay, go. The platform is yours.
So if I take your questions in the well, the first one was
The one that you've designed in the last 2 decades or how long you've been working.
well, I would take two examples if I may.
Please.
The one I designed, but I wasn't alone. I'm never really alone to design a watch. There's always a team and also a technical team behind the scene. And so it's the first one would be Seckford, which is a quartz watch. I designed a few quartz watches only, but it was a project that I did with almost 10 years ago with two friends of mine, Kushar Swara, who is an art director in a press group in London, and Pierre Flonneau. I was used to work for years with him, to collaborate with him. He's an industrial designer too. And this was Sackford was a very personal project, especially from Kushar, my business partner in this story. It was a very clean watch. So it was a quartz watch because we didn't have the budget to make a really high end mechanical watch. But we had every little details we wanted to, as a domed dial, which is very today very rare because it's not that simple to produce, with curved bended hands and obviously a box type crystal on the top of it, and it was very pure, very clean, and very classical watch. The second example I would take is not especially a watch, but a brand I'm working with for 18 years now. It's Bellon Ross. Bellon Ross was one of my first clients as a freelance, as a watch designer. And Bruno Bellamiche, one of the two founders of the brand, gave me a chance, simply like this. And I'm still working for them, actually.
Amazing.
Um,
So you
and
work with our mutual friend Jean-Paul Suchel.
yes, of course. Not for long now because he's retiring now. I'm a bit sad.
Unfortunately, he's very young at heart, but
Yeah,
he's retiring. He told me.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
the almost in the end of the year.
yeah.
So, but I guess maybe he's listening to us
I hope so. I
currently.
hope so. I
Maybe.
hope he's
Hi,
living in
hi,
Missing
Jean Paul.
Live or later. And I still wear his Japy watches.
Yeah, it was a nice project.
Yeah.
So Bellon for me as a special part is a special client in my client within these last 2 decades, because I never knew any other relationships in the professional area like this. We are very close and able to communicate very easily, even if I don't work I'm not in Paris. So Bellon is based in Paris, but
Mhm,
all the watches are produced in Switzerland.
mhm.
And it's a unique collaboration I have with them for these long years. So there is not especially one watch in the watches I designed or I participated to design, but it's, let's say, this collaboration which is much more special for me. And I have to say that also Bruno Bellamiche, the founder, is the head of design. So I'm always working under his artistic direction, and he's got still the, it's very rare, in fact, to work for a brand that is still owned by the founders, the creators. So it's very special to work in such conditions. That's a privilege for me.
Amazing. And to boil it down, did you design the BR03?
I'm never alone, as I said. I
You
designed
and
a
you.
lot of different versions of the BR03. I participated to the design update years ago, and there will be in the coming months and years a lot of new iterations and new versions. So
Very cool.
there will be
And you
some
said there were
surprises.
two. What's the second?
Well, the first was Segford, and the
Oh yeah,
second
sorry.
was
So yeah,
Bellon
sorry.
Ross.
Yeah. Sekford is for those that are listening. Is it Segford?
Sekford. I don't know if
Okay.
the website is still online, because
Let me
well,
check. Let me
actually
check.
my partner is too busy with his own business in the artistic direction of the press group in London. So
Is it this?
yes, it is.
Okay. Cool. All right. Very nice. Very cool. And the what and a watch or a design that you did not make.
What I'm keen on, I love tool watches in general.
Mhm.
It's always fascinating to see very complicated watches, but in the end, I'm always back on basics, just like a
Less
pair of
is more.
jeans. It's a tool. It's made to be reliable, to be accurate, to be readable and wearable. It's comfortable. It's resistant. It's robust. So I like tool watches in general. I got a Submariner, and because I think it's one of the mother of all tool watches. But usually, Rolex, Omega, and brands like them, they Longines also, Heuer, they invented so many things, and they have the background. I mean, they have the history. It's just like when you have a discussion with someone who has a lot of experience. Um, Brands like them, it's always very precious and rich to discuss and to discover what they did, because they did a lot. They did a massive job on every single layer of the watchmaking.
Amazing. And I'll push the envelope for the last time on this question. Is there anybody besides you who made a contemporary tool watch?
I don't know,
A tool
honestly, I
watch
don't
today that's contemporary,
know.
modern design.
um, yes, Bellon Ross in fact did it, because it's one of the first different tool watch in the 21st century. I mean, when the BR01 was unveiled in 2005, it was a kind of it was very dividing
Yeah.
in medias or in the public, because a lot of people told that it was a huge watch that was unwearable, and the other ones say it was genius, because in fact nobody, or not nobody, but no one brand before pushed the concept of the aircraft instruments on the wrist, to make it a kind of icon, because from then, as a designer, I worked for many other brands, and it's rare when in the design brief there is no Bellon Ross. I mean the square one, because it became a kind of icon, in fact.
It is. It is.
So
That's
and
why I
and it,
mentioned the BR03.
yeah, because it's the most wearable version. The first one, the 01, was 46 milliliter each side, so it was a pretty huge watch, and the 03 is 42,
Amazing.
so it's a much more wearable and quite comfortable watch, actually.
And the newest one is BR05, right?
Yes. Oh, the latest one is the sport version of the 05. It's the X5.
X5.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the one with the screws. I forgot the number.
Yeah,
With the
yeah.
integrated bracelet.
VR05.
It's 05, huh?
So there is still the square one with round dial and 4 screws,
Yeah.
the 03.
Yeah. And I mean
And
the integrated
then
bracelet.
the one with the integrated bracelet is the 05.
Yeah. Which I
05.
think is lovely. Did you guys work on that?
Yes. Of
Love it.
course. And the latest one is the sport version of the 05. It's the X5, which is a different kind of multi-material case and dial, and it was very exciting to make
Yeah,
it.
super cool. We
Yeah.
love Belarus.
Oh, you should see the carbon version. It looks like a sneaker, like a sport shoe, and it's very light and very nice to wear.
Amazing. Amazing. Love it. Second question. What did you want to be when you grew up?
So many things. um, Long story short, I think I wanted to be a lumberjack. Because I wanted to live outside, and especially in the woods. But we are living in a society with a kind of structure. So I decided to study geology,
Mhm.
because I wanted to work for the IFREMER, which is the French Institute of Research about oceans and seas. But I soon realized that I wasn't smart enough to continue on that path in the university. I was so bored in the university, so I decided to switch and to follow design school, to study in a design school. Yeah, the bed is smaller.
So it's
So
interesting.
I'm still in love with nature in general, and I love rustic living in general.
It
That's
is.
maybe it explains also. I'm talking from my living room, just because of this. Here on my side there is
Yeah.
the wood stove.
Yeah. Amazing.
I'm heating the house and I'm cooking with my wood stove.
Amazing. You really backed it. And now I understand why you and I get along so well
Okay.
because of this picture. My name Alon means oak tree.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know it.
So
You
so
were
that's our
you were
connection with trees.
you were destined to work in the
You see?
watchmaking industry.
You see. So yeah, very interesting. So and this also explains, and this is a bridge for later, why also you connect so much with nature and sustainability. So very interesting. Um, when did it click to design? And are you an industrial designer by
Yes,
nature?
at the beginning, but I soon, when I fell in love with the watches, I deep dived in. I jumped in, and I just my activity was focused only on watches.
And when was that pivotal moment? When did you switch to watches and why?
Actually, I had a back surgery. So I was living in Paris at that moment, but I became very dependent for months. So I went back to my family in the west of France,
Hmm.
in Nantes, and during my while I was recovering, I simply asked to my parents to buy me some magazines about jewelry and watches. And I opened it, and I just discovered a world of finishes, of materials, of details, of textures, of colors, and I was fascinated. So I decided to work on concept watches, as a designer, and I simply just got in touch with different brands. It was quite hard actually, because I wasn't from the watchmaking melting pot. I wasn't coming from that culture, so I had to show that I had some fresh ideas, and that I was able to design for watch brands.
And you just said that Belarus gave you the first chance, and ever since you've been working for a plethora of designers. Very cool. And we're very happy that you got that lucky break. So thank you, Belarus.
Thanks very much.
Third question. Who was or is your role model? And you can mention multiple people.
Yeah, I had a lot of heroes in my childhood, but it would be too long to mention them all. But basically, they were scientists, geologists, some writers, and some people that were who were able to make me dream. Today, I would say professionally, probably Bruno Bellamiche,
Mhm.
just because I discovered years after years the way he's working, the vision he has about his own brand. So and his ability to understand every input he get from the different parts of the brands. I mean, the commercial, the marketing, the technical part, and he's able to mix them,
Mhm.
and work for the brand. And personally, I love for s- a bit more than a couple of years to follow a YouTuber called Sean James.
Mhm.
He's a Canadian guy, and his YouTube channel is called My Self Reliance. Actually, because I admire a lot these people able to be that self-reliant. I mean, they are very independent in every sense of the word, and so I can't say that it's a role model, but I admire this ability to live off grid and to be multi-skilled. In
Yeah.
fact, we are so specialized today. I mean,
Yeah.
and we are so dependent on the devices that allow us to speak now, and also a lot of things. So I admire these people able to cut with that kind of things. Even if he's not. He didn't split with the modern world because he's a
Yeah.
YouTuber, in fact.
Yeah.
So he's filming his adventures, but showing basically he's building his own. Is the third one his own cabin in the Canadian woods, and he's not talkative at all, and he's just doing
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
things
Amazing.
with his own hands, and it's fascinating, I think.
Amazing. Very interesting. Actually, two cool role models. Thank you for sharing. If you could teleport tomorrow, where would you go? And for this fourth question, you can also time travel if you like.
Time travel, I don't know.
You don't have to, but you can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Time. If I would like to go back in the past, it would probably mean that I'm not happy in my era, in my time, but or that it probably would say also that I have some regrets, but no. No, if I could teleport anywhere now, probably up north.
Mhm.
I really enjoy. I spent my Erasmus time in Finland, in
Mhm.
Rovaniemi, which is a small town situated just below the Arctic Circle, and I really enjoyed this time. And I went back another time after that. And well, as I told you, I like rustic living in general, and over there you are often outside.
Mhm.
One of my best pleasure is to split and to cut wood. You know, I know it's very basic, but it smells good. You are outside, you're moving your body. You're just enjoying the simple pleasures of life. I like it. So probably up north in the northern Europe or Northern America.
See, so I chose the right strap. I didn't know you love wood so much, but I put a wooden strap on my watch for you
Yeah.
yesterday. So this I had a feeling. So you would go up north.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Interesting. Fifth question. What book are you currently reading, or what book made an impression on you recently?
I'm reading, actually, a novel named
Yeah.
A by Colin McCann. It's a novel about an Israeli and a Palestinian man, and what they have in common, which experiences they shared, and the friendship they have through them. It's inspired actually by two real men who, yes, that's it, two real men who they both lost their daughters and started to be a peace activists.
Mm.
So very interesting because it's a way to explain how things are working in this area because it's very complicated. Their history
Yeah.
is yeah, it's very complicated, and I don't know that much about the. I think you have to live over there at least for a time to understand how things are working.
Interesting. I actually haven't heard about this book, and I'm definitely adding it to my book list now. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you can.
Interesting. Thank you. Sixth question. You, what I love about you, you're more connected to earth tones, and you love less is more.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious if you believe in the form follows function philosophy, but I guess you're more tonal and earth tones. What do you think is going to be the color of 23 for the industry? Not for you, but for the industry.
I'm. It's a hard question. I don't know actually. I, I mean,
Are you
maybe
does it does it keep you busy what's happening with colors and trends
not
as a
really,
designer?
not really. Yes,
No.
as a designer, I have to. Well, I take a look at the colors or the trends when I work for clients that who have some guidelines about that. But the thing is probably green will be one of the not only for 2023, but I guess shades of green will be used a lot in the coming years. Sometimes as a real color, and sometimes as a washing tool in brands marketing.
Okay. That question I wanted to save for later about the topic greenwashing, but okay. I'm very happy you raised it. Um, Last one. Have you
Yeah.
ever been to Amsterdam? And if so, what's your favorite memory?
I'm ashamed. I never been in Amsterdam. I only know the airport, the Amsterdam's airport.
Okay,
Even if
good.
you're beautiful. Well, if you invite me, I would come for sure.
You already have an invitation. The next episode is with our mutual friend Guido,
Right. Yeah.
the initiate of Watch Angels. So to be continued. And we have lovely trees, so you'll be very happy here in Amsterdam. It's the only
Okay.
thing I'm saying.
I look forward to see them.
And I'm not talking about the leaves they smoke. I'm not talking about that.
That kind.
It's also green. Thank you so much, Cedric. That was lovely, actually, and every time
Thanks a
I
lot.
learn something new during these questions, so that's super fun. Um, we try to keep this episode at an hour. We get a lot of questions from viewers.
Okay, okay.
We have a lot of ground to cover. We have also some news to share. What I would love to do now, you already gave a bits and pieces from your childhood, your education. You started designing over 2 decades ago. Started as an industrial designer. Walk me through what have you designed before watches, and I'm very curious if you ever designed jewelry.
No, never. I would love to.
So let's
But
make a jewel together. I would love to do that.
yes, we can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for
cool.
sure.
Okay, what else did you design or make?
Oh, parts from tractor, agriculture
Mhm,
engines,
mhm.
computers actually for Packard Bell
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah,
Some pieces of furniture, cooking utensils, things like this, and a lot of mock-up, in fact, for and demonstrators for heavy industries,
yeah,
just like Alstom and things like this. I designed also, and it was for fairs, booth, things like this. I
yeah.
also worked on some plane seats,
Mhm.
and a funny thing that I wasn't able to allowed to talk about that at that time. But when Nicolas Sarkozy was the French president, I worked on the um, the interior of the Air France One, the French Air Force One, because the French president has got a plane, an Airbus. I don't remember exactly there, and I participated to design the whole interior of the president's suit. No, not suit. See, yeah, yes. So
Sweet.
the suite, yeah, yeah. No, no. The meeting room,
Yeah,
his office,
yeah.
the bedroom, the bathroom, everything. So it was kind of fun.
Amazing.
But
And
I didn't met him personally. I don't know him personally.
and that's fine. And with Bellon and Partners, do you guys just produce and design watches? I mean, do you design watches, or also does the studio? Can anybody contact you because you have partners, obviously?
Anybody, anybody. Actually, Amaury, I after 13 years, I was working too much, so I decided to slow down. So I'm still linked to Pierre and Amaury,
Yeah,
and for example, Amaury worked on the pictures of the CB watches,
yeah.
and but I don't do that much. I'm trying to focus a little bit more about my historical clients and to develop CB watches. But yes, in fact, anybody can contact me or them to design any other kind of item. We have, in fact, we worked for in so many. Three of us, we worked in so many different industrial areas that we can cover a lot of topics.
Amazing. And before we go into your journey as a watchmaker, starting your own watch brand, we see a lot of brands here on this website. Just quickly mention other brands that are not listed here because I know you've done a lot more. Because I think our viewers would love to hear what other watch brands you've worked for.
Um, there is a famous, well, there is different brands. So I don't see exactly what brands are
So
mentioned
for
on your
those that are
screen.
not watching,
Yes,
you have
okay. I worked also for the Fifth, which is an Australian entry level watch brand
okay,
for
cool.
watchmakers, which is a Swiss private label. So it was through them that I worked for other
Mhm,
brands, for Technomarine a lot, also for C2C.
Hmm.
and for Alpina and Frédéric Constant.
Yeah, amazing. Because Frederick Constant is up here.
Ah,
He
yeah,
printed
yeah, Alpina, no, because the
Alpina
website
not.
is not updated for a long time. And
No.
also, I worked for many years for well, it's a group, a brand, a French brand, a very famous French brand. I'm not supposed to mention, but who is based between the Cambon Street and the Place Vendôme in Paris, and who released in the beginning of the 21st century one of the most iconic ceramic black or white watch. So I
Say
worked
no
on.
more. Say no more. We know which one you mean. Amazing. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Very interesting. So you've done this. You've done this for 2 decades.
Yes, almost 2 decades.
What was the trigger to start your own watch and watch brand? Did you always want to do that? Was it a dream?
Not especially, but because I'm not an entrepreneur. In fact, I'm not a media man. And that kind of project is more a communication project than a product project. But in fact, I started to work on a sustainably produced watch 17 years ago. But at that time, the watch industry and the luxury industry in general, they didn't care about that. Environmental topics, it wasn't a topic, in fact. So today, it's easier to convince the supply chain to be involved in such production guidelines and to question their own industrial processes, because it became a trend, in fact, and it's a pity. But well, if it had to start now, it's okay. So I waited for 17 years to make it real.
Amazing. And I'm very happy you did because while you were talking, I put up on the screen the Watch Angels
Mhm.
site where I chose your chapter, the second chapter.
Yes.
I'm actually looking for the watch that we're both wearing because the one I'm showing right now is the second project, which I also ordered privately for my private collection.
Thanks a lot.
So I'm looking for that. So while I pull up the image of CB01, the skin diver,
Yes.
walk me through that. Why the first one ever, a skin diver? What is the definition of skin diver? A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
And walk us through the idea. Why this watch? Did you think that was lacking in the industry?
Not especially. The first idea I had about more sustainable watch was that it had to look like a tool watch, because generally hand tools, they are made to last. They are robust, they are resistant, they are simple, they have simple functions, they are reliable, and usually they are not complicated,
Mhm.
just like watches can be. So tool watches for me was the first field I wanted to play in. And the second thing is that I didn't want to invent, to create a sustainable design language in watches. I'm not that talented, I think, and for me, a more sustainable watch is probably a watch that is made for to age well, so to be timeless.
Mhm.
So I simply had a look on basic tool watch cases that were popular, because a sustainable watch for me also had to be popular in terms of affordable. And I very quickly decided to go in that direction, because skin diver cases were used in the late 60s and in the early 70s as popular diving watch cases. They were very simple to machine, to make, to produce, and to finish, which is another very nice input in terms of sustainability, sustainable guidelines. I mean, the less you have machining to do, the less energy and the less material you use. So everything has a reason to be like this today. I simply added these chamfers, on the lugs, just to add a bit of light and give them a bit of, maybe not luxury because it's a tool watch, but something a bit more precious. And just to deep dive in this topic, as you can see it, the dials are very raw. They are naked because, and it shows. It's a perfect example to explain the mindset we had when we started this project. Watch angels, they also are cases manufacturer, so they produce case components for many brands and many groups. And so they have facilities and tooling able to produce cases in precious metals or in stainless steel, in titanium. So I soon realized that if I wanted to make watch production more sustainable, I had also to use, for example, recycled and recyclable materials, and also to think about how the watches will be designed technically and how they will be produced. So I challenged them to and asked them if they would be able to produce dials, because they are not dial makers, to make dials out of the same material as the case, because they are able to produce the case. So they worked hard because it wasn't that easy to make stainless steel dials. The technical, the constraints are different. And in the end, they did it. And the fact that these dials are totally naked. I mean, it's a raw material without any other kind of treatment. They are only engraved, laser engraved, in order to remove all the the chemicals involved in the dial production processes. So everything linked to I lost my word. Sorry. But usually a dial is a complex, after the movement, the dial is the most complex part of the watch to produce, because there is a lot of chemical treatments, of finishes and things like this, or applied markers, for example, things like this. So we decided to have only one piece, one part to make the dial with no chemicals, no treatment, anything that would interfere with the sustainable guidelines. That's why these dial. But we are working on other versions, of course, of finishing, of textures and things like this. Actually, we have too many projects in the pipes. We have to choose for the coming years.
Amazing. And you decided to go, you answered my question about why skin diver, because it's the least complex case to produce from an energy and sustainable point of view.
Yeah, it's
You didn't talk
timeless.
about, I believe you were the first to use Krupp's pure steel, the first branded, launched,
Yes,
pure recycled steel, weren't you?
the pure steel is
What we
a
see
trademark.
here.
It's a ThyssenKrupp's trademark, and there is a lovely history about that, because uh, in last July I met finally, after the COVID period, which was quite complicated. So I didn't go to in Switzerland for 3 years. And I met finally the people who developed the pure steel, and I discovered that they did it just for me. And it was a huge surprise, because I thought I was lucky enough at that time to be the first one to use it in the watchmaking industry. But actually, they have a laboratory in Switzerland,
Yeah.
and the guy who's leading the laboratory was he already developed. Well, he and his team already developed recycled stainless steel, which was 98% recycled stainless steel. The two last percentage are usually some additive you had to put in the melt to make the stainless steel the proper shade of stainless steel. In the watchmaking industry, we use mainly two different kind of stainless steel, and to get it properly 100% recycled, you have to recycle already the good type of stainless steel. And they never did it, in fact, because it's a bit complicated to collect the material. And finally, when Watch Angels they met and they discussed about that, and they made me the surprise to push a little bit the process and develop the pure steel. So I was the first people able to use it. And so CB watches are the very first watches made out of 100% stainless steel.
Amazing. So I literally clicked on all three aspects of your watch. First and foremost, I saw the watch and it's beautiful. I like both versions. You have the central hands and the one with the sub dial at the 12 o'clock, which I don't know any other watch design where the small seconds is at the top.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen steel dials or ton sur ton, so the dial is the same color as the case. I also love this watch. The
Yeah,
dial is titanium, so
incredible watch.
it's 100% same color. You see it also behind me, so that really spoke to me. The font, the finishing, and then obviously the story of the sustainability, because um, you launched it. Is it 3 years ago? The communication of this project.
2020, 2 years ago. Soon, I guess in May 2023, it'll be
3 years.
3 years. Yeah,
Okay.
so within six
So
months.
so that really resonated with me. And then the fact that you chose to crowdfund it, because I mean you have enough connections in the industry. You could have gone on your own. Before I go there, what I also wanted to discuss, the aspect of repurposed calibers. Talk about that a little bit, please.
Well, we were opportunists, in fact, to be honest.
Okay.
I asked to Watch Angels if because they are more connected in the supply chain than me,
Mhm.
if they would be able to find an unused stock of movements, because I think the further we could push the sustainable guidelines was the better. So if we can use a movement that is already produced and you don't have to ask for a new production, I think it's also it's a detail, but I think it's better for the sustainability score of the watch, if I may
Mhm.
name it like this. So they had this opportunity to use an unused stock. So it was refurbished. It was a Dubois Deprat module on Celita movements, and they offered me to use it. And I worked the dial design according to the specifications of the movement. So each
Amazing.
time we will be able to make such kind of move. Sorry, we will do it. I think because a
Amazing.
100% sustainable watch doesn't exist. We just try to push a little bit further the processes to make them more sustainable.
So this is interesting. You have 87% on what we see on the screen now for your
Hmm.
first project,
Yes.
and the current project on Watch Angels. And for our dear listeners and viewers, in 2 weeks, Guido Benedini, the founder of Watch Angels, will come on the show He
Yeah.
will do the deep dive and explain what Watch Angels is, why it's created, how it works. Definitely go check out the website now because the second watch Cedric created is up for sale still, correct? You
Hmm.
still can order it. And you pushed up the sustainability score.
Yeah. In fact, it's a lot. So it's you can read the sustainability report on the bottom of the page. You'll have please scroll down uh,
Even
a
more.
bit more. Yeah, yeah, a
Yeah.
bit more. Again, a bit more, more. It's written in red, if I remember properly. So the
Very long
watch. No,
pages.
up, that just below. Scroll down.
Here.
Here it is.
Okay, guys.
So
So
the GMT sustainability
here.
report.
Okay. So
So I can explain quickly what is it. We soon realized that to explain what is a more sustainably produced watch, we had to show with scientific criteria why we can say that is more sustainable. So they listed each component of the watch, how it was produced, what is it made for, what is the materials, and from where it comes, what is produced. And when you add all these different components, you can make a kind of sustainability score. It was a way to measure, to rate the efforts, the work we did scientifically and industrially to explain the sustainability. But there is a plenty of hidden details you have no idea, because there's so much processes involved in the production of a watch. But we can't talk about everything because it would be boring.
no, we can. We should. I am so mesmerized by your stories that I'm losing track of time. We have 8 minutes left. The
Okay.
questions are flooding in. I want to ask you if you would come back on the show this year, though, so we maybe can go into a deep dive.
Maybe
Um,
we could do it just like you did it with Niels.
I
I
would
mean,
love to.
sitting aside and
I
just
would
have an
love to. I would
exchange.
love to. So you have to come to Amsterdam. Now, we also have, before we go start answering all the questions quickly, we have also an announcement. Should we do it now, Cedric?
Yes, we should.
Honor is yours.
So I'm delighted to announce that Alan with Ace Jewelers and CB Watches will collaborate on a very small and exclusive series. I cannot say more now because you will discover a bit more soon, but we will tease a little bit within the coming weeks, and release the project or unveil it in the beginning of the year. That's all. And I will soon send you,
So
Alan,
I was
some
I was
pictures.
bubbling, guys. I was very honored that Cedric and Guido asked me if we can collaborate on something very organic, very fun. I've been waiting for months because it's sustainable, guys, and we're pushing the sustainability score up. We're trying to. It takes longer. You can't push too hard. There are anyway sustainability and supply chain problems. So the
Yeah,
proto will hopefully be ready. Guido will come on the show and hopefully show us the proto. So until then, guys, stay tuned and let's jump quickly to the questions, Cedric, because we have our friend Abdul on the show saying hello, and he sends in a question on YouTube. I would ask, what would be the first thing you think about when you, Cedric, starts designing a watch? Complication, case, dial.
it depends on the design brief. I mean, when I work for brands, they usually have some a design brief, so with inputs. Sometimes it's 30 pages of mood boards and very complex marketing and market analysis. But usually, I like to go straight to the point. So I mean, a movement. If they already have some technical or industrial constraints, And if it's from a white page from scratch, well, globally it's first a case, because it has to contain the rest of the watch, and then I work on more on details on the dial, which is the most visible part of the watch. But every detail counts, and I like to work a lot on proportions and on comfort, because we just went through an era of very big watches, and we discovered, and I thank Richard Mille for that, that light watches and not so big watches are more comfortable. And it's just like a pair of shoes, you know. If your pair of shoes hurts your feet, no matter if it's the most beautiful pair of shoes you have, you won't wear it because it hurts. So a too heavy or too big watch in the end is not that nice to wear. So I tried all during the last 2 decades to sensibilize brands about the fact that, okay, a watch is a status symbol mainly, but it's also something you have to wear on your skin all during the day, so it has to be comfortable.
Amazing. Thank you for that. We have um, Rocky, who is a record hold keeper. He had been on every show. He
Yes,
writes,
seen it.
"Are there enough movements in stock to make a collaboration watch with Ace Jewels?" You'll find out, Rocky. But he continues. I want one. You know my lucky number. I do, Rocky. Hereby
Which
officially
one?
noted.
We have to book it.
I'll take care of him. He knows. He
Okay, okay.
orders all the Ace collabs blindly. So thank you for the trust, Rocky. We really appreciate it. Um, he's part of Red Bar Crew and the Watch 4 crew. Another member is Kentaro. He asks on YouTube, actually, interesting question. A skeleton dial design. Would you consider that in the future, Cedric?
Why not? There is two there is many pros, because it's fun, it's cool, it's nice looking. But there is also cons. I mean, it's more machining, so it's
Mhm.
more energy, it's more waste. So it doesn't fit exactly with sustainable guidelines of the project. And also, if I would design a skeletonized dial, it means that I would have something interesting to show below. It means a nice movement to show. If there is nothing to show below, I don't think it's that interesting. So why not? But I
Interesting.
hope someday, that movement manufacturers start to think also in a more sustainable way, and try to offer some movement lines, produced with much more sustainable guidelines. I have to talk about that publicly, to push them and to encourage them to do that kind of things, because I'm sure I'm not the only project and the only brand to which is going to use that kind of movement in the coming years.
For sure. Well said. And good for you. And thank you for doing it. And thank you, Kentaro, for your question. KZ writes on YouTube, what would be the approach going forward in terms of same style slash series with different complications, or same watch with different, even bold dials?
Well, at the moment, we I prefer to animate, to make different versions of the first case, because in fact it depends in industry. Once you have a tooling, you should use it in order to avoid producing a new one, which is more sustainable. And once you start to install, to show an identity, which is, for example, for CB, at the moment, skin diver case with raw dials. Uh, I'm trying to pushing at the moment just to install in the mind of people that well, CB watches are looking like this, but it doesn't avoid to think about many other things about movements first. So we can put different movements in the same case. And there is some other projects in the pipe. And also think about different cases, so a complete new watch, or also different materials. Why not? They only have to be recycled or recyclable to fit with the project. So
Amazing.
everything is possible.
Amazing. Thank you, KZ, for the awesome question. We just passed the 1 hour mark. Next up, December 13th at noon, join us. We're going to continue this topic with Guido Menendini of Watch Angels. Cedric rests me to thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
See you soon in Amsterdam.
Pleasure.
We're going to do part 2. And thank you to all our viewers.
Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Bye, guys. Ciao.
Bye.